What should you buy first, a single family rental or a multifamily rental? That's a great question. Let's dive into it. Hey everyone, I'm the Real Estate Ninja. I hope you're doing well. Let me tell you my story and my idea of how you should start buying rentals. And I'll go down all the way back to 2001 when I started. The first rental I ever bought was a condominium. And I was super excited. It was an easy decision for me because the condominium complex I picked had a great HOA. I got to meet some of the people there, and I liked the idea of my first rental, me not having to deal with the outside, not having to deal with painting, not having to deal with any kind of maintenance outside, any of that stuff. Everything was done. But after I bought the property and I bought a condominium that already had a tenant in it, it gave me an idea. I bought that property for $70,000 and the rent was $700 at the time. It was a great deal. The 1% rent deal, you're always, any time from 8% mortgage down, you're going to be making money. But I thought about my risk. What happened if my tenant moved out? Now all of a sudden, for a month or two while I'm getting a new tenant, I'm not getting that $700 a month and I got to pay the $560 mortgage. So I went out on my next property and I bought a fourplex. And this is what I would highly suggest. Let me explain something that most people don't understand. When you're buying a duplex, 2 units, a triplex being 3, or a fourplex, the financing on those they're identical when we're talking about non-owner occupied as a single family home. But you're pushing your risk out farther and farther, whether it be half the risk with a duplex, less risk with a triplex, even less risk with a fourplex when it comes to people moving out than if you were to buy a single family property. Now, if you want to learn how to save thousands of dollars, I'll throw a QR code up here. Between Mortgage Master and the Mortgage Master 2.0 Investor Series, you're going to learn how to get this all done, how to get the financing, how to save thousands of dollars doing it. But going back to the reason why I like multifamily, and just it's cut off at fourplex, because once you go from 5 up, and I explain this more in my courses, you can save a lot on price per square foot, but the government doesn't have programs to really help you get in those conforming loan rates that really give you a lot of leverage for the least amount of payment. So when we're talking about fourplex, remember, if you even had half of your tenants move out, that's 2, you're still getting half of the unit's rent coming in. And this is something that a lot of investors really don't think about. Sure, there are a lot of investors that have their own home and they have 1 or 2 single family units out there, properties, and they look at themselves as real estate investors. But a true investor asks themselves some very important questions. First off, how much money am I putting into a deal? How much am I going to make per month on that deal, profit? And when am I getting my initial amount back? A lot of real estate investors, all they care about is how much am I paying for it and how much I'm going to be able to sell it someday. And that's the wrong way of looking at it. Because if you're only looking at that and you're not looking at risk mitigation, then when a risk appears, rears its ugly head, and there's a problem, you're more than likely to crap the bed and make a wrong decision, and then it soils your memory or your thoughts. It puts a bitter taste in your mouth towards real estate as a whole. I've met so many what they would have thought of at themselves as real estate investors that never want to touch real estate again because they had a couple of bad problems in the past. And every time I've asked them about their problem, it comes down to risk mitigation. They didn't plan on that being a problem before, so they didn't buy the property with that problem that could arise at mind. So it totally blindsided them and cost them a lot of money. So when we're talking about, should I buy a single family residence as opposed to a fourplex? I'm going to say fourplex all day, because just that one part of the risk mitigation process of mitigating your vacancy rate, because you have multiple units as opposed to just one. Think about it. If you bought a $500,000 house that could rent for $5,000 a month, that sounds great, right? But what if one person moves out? That's $5,000 now that's not coming in. And how much is the mortgage on that? Is the mortgage $3,500? What if you spent you bought a same price property, a $500,000, but it was a duplex, a triplex, or a fourplex? The likelihood of all 4 people or all of your tenants moving out at once is extremely unlikely, meaning that's one problem that you now don't have to face. I hope you got something out of this. If you want to learn how to become a prime borrower and have banks begging for your business and saving thousands of dollars in fees because you were prepared, you had all the checklists, you had all your T's crossed and your I's dotted, I'm going to throw an 80% off link to the Mortgage Master. And if you want the Mortgage Master 2.0, it's going to teach you everything from equity stripping to DSCR loans and then going into big commercial. I want you thinking big. Have an awesome, awesome week. Real Estate Ninja is out.